Hello guys, thank you so much for joining us today. As above, so below, we're talking about Mars energy, and this is definitely Mars energy. I want to say salutations to my Madrina, to my Padrino, to my Oba, and to all of my brothers and sisters in Ifa, Voodoo, Santeria, Lukumi, Congo, Palo, Mystic, and Ajax. To each and every one of you guys, these are the African traditional religions by which we harness, direct, and disperse energy, frequency, and vibration. On this platform, I am here for melanated people. I do not teach my personal beliefs or practices, but what I do is teach universal laws. I want to say to each and every one of you guys, thank you so much for your continued support. As you guys are being notified that Chief Apostle Evie is live, I want you to know on this platform, we're here to gain knowledge, wisdom, understanding. At no time I am out here trying to change the minds of anybody. At the end of the day, every man must choose his or her own path. What's up, my Stormy from Detroit? And then I got my Sagittarius from Detroit, and then I got my Sagittarius, Chris, actually out of Philly. And we want to say hello to Tree Rhonda Aries in the house. To each and every one of you guys as you're chiming in, thank you so very much. And thank you so much, Stormy. Congratulations to you as well for your what's going on in your life, the job, and all things that God are doing in your life. What's up, my 69? That's right, Sir Lickum and Sir Stickum. That's what we're gonna be. We're gonna be the Wonder Twins. Me and Renee gonna be Sir Lickum and Sir Stickum. You understand? All right, you figure out which end you want. You understand? Thank you so much. Wiggle, my baby Scorpio is in the house. What's up, Keish? And then we got Demetrius, my Gemini, and then we got Ryan, my Leo, in the house. Mama Susan. All right, Gemini. To each and every one of you guys, excited to be here with you as well. Thank you as you're coming in. To remember, this is a monetized channel, so super chat your questions if you have them. And also, sir and ma'am, hit that like button and hit those shares. And thank you so much once again for making this platform for what it is and being an environment that melanated people feel comfortable coming here and interacting with each other on this platform. This is a platform that has been created as a safe space for melanated people, gay, straight, bi, rich or poor, educated, uneducated, so they can learn universal laws. A lot of times when we teach our personal practice, it causes other people that do not practice in that feel like they can't learn anything. I feel like you can learn something from anything, but everybody is not like that. If they hear something other than their tradition or what they was raised up, they're no longer interested in listening. Me, myself, hey, I give a listening ear as long as it makes sense and it's something profitable to me, I'll listen to. But everybody not like that, so I try to keep it universal. I do talk about different practices on this platform. I want to say thank you so very, very much to each and every one of you guys for being a part of my Graveyard family, my Patreon family, to each and every one of you guys that are a part of my 13 Circle. Just excited about the different offers to those that eventually will become members of my Apollo family. My thing is about understanding that everybody may not end up being in the same place or in the same need, and so certain things that sometimes people don't feel like they need until they need it. Okay, so one thing I do is I try to make sure that I do have it to offer on this platform. I'm a pastor, an apostle, and my beliefs are deeply rooted in the ATRs. And the reason why I say that oftentimes because sometimes people come on and they see that I'm a Christian pastor and they assume that I don't have power in these other religions or knowledge in these other religions, and so therefore I have to constantly school them and re-educate them about that I'm a Sagittarius, my moon in Aries, and rising sign Pisces. And so this is some of the things that I show you each and every time that I get on my live, why understanding your energy, frequency, and vibration, and being comfortable in your energy and being able to embrace your particular practice, your particular tradition, or your particular egoons in an environment and navigate in this thing called life. Okay, this is as above so low. This is Mars energy. I wanted to talk about this. I had called Mother Susan earlier to wake me up so I can get up, because I went back to work today, and you know, anytime you've been off from work for a while and then you go back, you know, it's tiring. So I needed a nap. I'm gonna discuss something. And what I'm gonna try to do is respond less to the trolls. I'm going to talk about something very serious and a part of my practice, but it is universal, and I want to talk about it in a responsible way. What's up, Alicia? I want to share this with melanated people. It is actually between my intermediate class and my advanced class where this would be applicable. Thank you, Golden Kodak. I think I'm reading it right. I ain't got my glasses on, but thank you. In honor of my head Orisha Mafedifun Yanza Oya, in honor of Bablu Aye, in honor of my Padrino, Madrina, and my Oba, and to all of my brothers and sisters in Ifa, Voodoo, Santa Rita, Komin, Congo, and Palo, I am rocking my Fedifun Ogun on today. I'm going to share this, and the reason why I'm hesitant because I have to make sure that I teach this in a way that is universal practice and that people have a better understanding. My subject tonight is eye for eye. I want to talk about death spells understood, and what is a death spell, what isn't a death spell, when it is applicable. I have found myself in situations implementing this particular type of curse, and I want to be clear about what leads me as a spiritual person to that place. So I'm going to start off with Deuteronomy, the 19th chapter, 21st verse. So I got a couple of scriptures why I want to discuss this. Deuteronomy 19 verse 21. It says this: and thine eye shall not pity or feel sorrowful, but life shall go for life, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, and foot for foot. And what that really means, guys, that no matter what you practice, what tradition you're in, whether you're Christian, whether you're a Muslim, whether you are a conjurer, a mystic, ajay, whether you work on the left hand path, or you work on the left hand path, you should always have a measured judgment. And what that means is when you hear us use the term, or you hear spiritual people talk about return to sender, the whole concept of return to sender is whatever type of energy or every type of action that that individual has taken against you, that is the same energy that comes back to the individual. So the concept, if they use an eye, you get an eye. If they use a foot, you get a foot. If they use a hand, they get a hand. And a lot of times, and I'm going to say this about our melanated people, a lot of times that we are not measured people. And we go to the extreme of things, and so therefore somebody cuts you out and now you're asking for death on their life. Or somebody cuts you off in the road and now you're asking for a car accident. It is going to the extreme of things, whether you're doing root work or conjure or OB, or whether you are doing simplified witchcraft, or you're doing Christian calling those things that be not as though they were, or prophesying. When whatever action a man or woman takes should actually be the repercussion of their action. It should not be a situation where somebody, if they gossip about me, then gossip comes back to them. If they lied on me, then people lie on them. Returning the energy of an individual, or returning the actions of an individual back to them, allows you to stay in a safe space when it comes down, if you are going to return karma. Romans, the 12th chapter, (7 and 19). And when I say this, I don't, like, if you in a Christian church, a lot of times they have especially when it comes down to judgment work, or I was talking to one of my babies the other day. It's like she said that she just really appreciate the message because, you know, certain things had happened to her, and then she was like, maybe I shouldn't do this, like, you know, sympathizing with your antagonist. I don't do that. If I make a decision to do something, I'm gonna stand by my decision. What's up, my Natasha Foster, my Aquarius from North Carolina? My aphrodisiac is in the house, y'all. What's up there, Boaz, my Pisces, for being in here with us. So, I want to say that before I read this next scripture, because you as a grown man or woman, once you do these types of workings and work with Mars or Saturn, you need to have your mind made up. This is not something that you go wishy-washy into. So, let me read it to you. Romans 12, 17 through 19. It says, recompense to no man evil for evil. Provide things honest in the sight of all men. If it be possible, as much as lieth in you, live peaceably with all men. So this is like I tell you, I don't, because I know my temperament. I'm a Sagittarius. My moon is Aries, rise sign Pisces. So I tend to my business. I stay out of other people's business. I try not to commentary on other people's situations and circumstances unless asked into. All these things keep me as measured as I am with the type of temperament that I have. This is the purpose of knowing who you are and how you operate. Then, and this is why I'm also upfront about how I deal. It says, verse 19, dearly beloved, avenge not yourself, but rather give place unto wrath. In other words, for it is written, vengeance is mine, I will repay, saith the Lord. Now, this is me. I don't tell people what to do. This is me. When I do this particular working, I have a working that I do, and I call it, I tell God, avenge me of my adversary. And so I utilize spirits, I utilize eguns that are ruled by Mars or Saturn or both. And the reason why I use this is because I want Mars and Saturn energy to be involved in avenging me of my adversary. The first thing that you have to understand is that a lot of times when you hear me talk about me putting something on somebody's ass, actually I go through the divine in order to put that on their ass. I go to my spirits. I don't take things in my own hands. I don't take things in my own knowledge. I go to the spirit and say, listen, this individual did this XYZ, and I'm asking you to avenge me because of XYZ. And I allow them to take place whatever judgment they see fit render. Now, has there been times that I've literally requested certain things? Absolutely. But I still go through the spirits in order to get my vengeance done. And normally, because I have good spiritual credit with them, I normally get what I want. Because I don't go to Egun, or I don't go to spirit. I don't go to Jehovah Maker. I don't go to the Adonai Yahweh unless this person has sold this particular action against me. One of the things about spell work, in order for spell work to be effective, is that there must be an action against you. It's like trying to take somebody to court that hasn't done anything to you. You're not gonna have evidence to prove your case. Now, you could, in America, you can sue anybody for anything, but the point of having the evidence or having them have made the action, a lot of times we feel a type of way, and that's not necessarily that means somebody has done something to you. So the reason why a lot, especially when it comes down to death spells, which I'm going to explain in a minute, it is very, you have to have a lot of power to bring death to somebody that is healthy. Let me explain why. Death is an energy, a frequency, and vibration, just like life is. And somebody that is a necromancer, somebody that deals with death through the cemetery, and Babaloye is a child of the Moretos or the Egun, and Centella is who I am in Palo, and also Oya, which on a cemetery. So I'm constantly dealing with that energy and that frequency and that vibration. And so a lot of times when people don't understand that I have to have a reason in order to bring that person's timeline to an end. I have to have a justified reason for Egun or Risha or Loa or Nkisi to bring that. Because when you're dealing with death, this is why I mean by why it's dangerous, because if you're trying to do a death spell and that backfires, the only repercussion for you is death. So you shouldn't be mindful, no matter what your particular practice is, if you're out here calling for the death, or like Donald Trump said, for the execution of somebody's life, because the return of that energy is the same energy, which is death. And so a lot of times when people get upset, they wish death on people. They wish ill on people. They wish sickness on people that could attribute to somebody's death. Wishing car accidents on people that could contribute to their death. So these are the things that needs to be mindful. That energy, that frequency and vibration is just as powerful as life. It is duality. It is not less powerful. It is just as powerful because it is duality. Life and death exist at the same time. And so depending on what spectrum, this is why the scripture said that life and death is in the power of our tongue. The same Ache that you can speak life is the same Ache that you speak death. And so that needs to be considered before you ask for or try to execute a death spell. Bringing death, Lady Death, Lord Death, Baron Samzi, any spirit, if you're dealing with your Moretos, you're dealing with death spirits, because these are dead spirits. These are spirits that have once lived and they're dead. So if you're going to the cemetery and you're asking the cemetery to deal with, this is a type of death spell because you're dealing with the spirits of the dead. There's no other. When people do necromancy work, when I deal with a graveyard work and I ask the Egun to protect, that is a type of death spell because I am dealing with the dead to protect that individual from hurt, harm, or danger. Now, if people are doing things to try to create sickness to that individual or trying to do things that are trying to mess up their finances, that's what's going to come back. If they're out there trying to destroy them or kill them, that's what's going to come back. That's what they're going to do. They send it back to the sender. So, let me make sure I got 12. It said, for vengeance is mine, and I will repay, saith the Lord. So, if you follow me long enough, I would say things like the woman with the unjust judge. He didn't regard man. He did not regard God. But she was persistent, and he avenged her of an adversary. God is not unjust. If you have a legitimate situation, where vengeance is necessary, and I have found myself in a situation where I wanted to be avenged. I wanted certain actions, and I had there's some situation that took place with Minister Mario, and there's situation took place with my family. I've had situation where certain preachers were out there doing things against me that I executed this particular and I sent that the death spirit behind certain people, and for the most part they're no longer here. But it is not something I do unless somebody is doing some really raunchy, wicked shit to me. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a type of person that you could call up and say, oh, I want you to kill XYZ, or I want you to bring death to XYZ. I'm not that type of person. There are situations where vengeance may not end up in death. It may end up in somebody being crippled, somebody being maimed. It may be somebody in a terrible accident or fire. It can be anything. Me personally, I just trust the divine. I trust that if I bring a situation that I deem worthy of their ear, and I bring that situation, I trust them to handle that situation. I don't think that a lot of melanated people really trust God like that, because they see Jesus as this peacemaker. They see God as this person that that's a softy, that understands their mistakes. I don't see God like that. I feel like God is the same yesterday, today, and forevermore. And if I go to my Heavenly Father, or I go to my Divine Mother about a situation and I present a case, I feel like they're going to accommodate me, or they're going to assist me in that endeavor. I would never bring a case just like a prosecutor. You don't bring a case against a person unless you believe you can bring that home. When you lay charges against a man or woman, you got to be able to bring that home. And so this is why we do divination beforehand, especially when you're doing this type of working and protection, because when I've done those spells against people, they fought back. Nobody, the average person is not going to sit back and just die because you declare death on their life. The average person is not. Their egoons are going to fight against you. So you have to have certain levels of protection. So when those egoons start fighting back, they're not disrupting your life, and you're still seeing the fruition of what you're asking for. This is very dangerous work. I don't. This is not amateurish work. This is not something that you should do unless your mind is really made up. I think that's more important than actually the reason why you're asking for it. Your mind needs to be made up. I think a well made up mind is more important than actually the reason why you actually want to implement or execute a death spell. You have to bring that person, you have to actually destroy that person's physical body to bring that death. And so you have to know different types of poisons. You would have to know different types of herbs that could weaken that person's body to the point where you're bringing it in the frequency and in the range of death. I feel that a lot of people that attack sick people are sick-minded. They're already struggling with physical ailments, and so therefore their body is already compromised. I think that people throw at people that this is why I tell you do not get in certain warfares if you're not healthy, if you're not up on your health, because energy follow path of least resistance. And if you have health issues, those spirits are going to attack you where you're the most vulnerable. And if it is your health, that's what they're going to attack. A lot of us do not take care of our bodies. We don't see our bodies as a part of the spell. We don't see our bodies as a part of the craft. And very much so, your body is the Merkaba. It is the vehicle by which your energies are traveling and channeling through you. So this is extremely important if you come to the conclusion that you want to implement these type of workings. This is definitely done through Mars and Saturn. And then I want to go right here. Let me Matthew 18:6. Matthew 18:6 says this. But whosoever shall offend one of these little ones which believe in me, it were better for him that a millstone or a large rock was hanged about his neck, and that he were drowned in the depths of the sea. The reason why I wanted to implement this particular scripture, because if you are a child of a said deity or goddess, there's a certain level of protection that particular Risha, Loa, and Kisi is going to afford you because you are their child. And a lot of us do not have the confidence, because I tell people oftentimes, I don't worry about what people do to me. People are going to intentionally do whatever. I always have the peace of mind that they're going to reap what they sow. And the reason why I want to say this, An eye for an eye. This is what I tell people. Let me read this first. Titus 1:1. Did I move this out? Oh. It's Titus 1:1 said, Paul, servant of God and an apostle of Jesus Christ, according to the faith of God's elect, and the acknowledging of the truth which is after godliness. Now, if God is saying, or the divine is saying, if you mess with my least one, if you sow these seeds against my least one, it's better for you to tie a millstone. I have said this oftentimes. I am God's elect. I am God's chosen vessel. If you're going to sow, if you're going to come against somebody, and I'm not telling you to come against anybody, if you're going to lie to somebody, if you're going to try to stiff somebody, if you're going to try not to do right by somebody, I wouldn't choose God's anointing as the vessel that you lie on, that you cheat, that you cross, that you double cross, that you play head games with. A lot of y'all, I don't understand, of all the people on planet Earth, that you would choose to play games with the elect of God, the chosen of God. I don't understand that of all the types of people that carry as many spirits and egos as I do, that I would be the individual that you choose to lie to. I'm the individual, and when I say me, I'm talking about anybody that you know that is truly in that position and in that space. That of all people, yeah, you're going to reap what you sow, no matter who you do it to. But why would you want to do that to God's elect? If that is the mindset of the divine for God's least one, little one, God's handmaid, the finger of God, the hand of God, why would you take my platform? Why would you use somebody like me as the person that you would betray, the person that you would deceive, the person that you would lie to? I've never and I tell people all the time, it doesn't make any sense to me, because like I said, black people gonna be black people. Black people have this mindset, you ain't no better than me. I'm God's anointed too. Like when black people want to be disrespectful, they try to level the playing field. They want to bring you out of the clouds and out of wherever God has you, so they can feel justified by doing what they're doing. But my thing is, if we all have to reap what we sow, this is why I make it universal. Then of all people, why would you do it to a Tata, a Mumbo, a Hugon, an apostle, a prophet, a pastor, a teacher, evangelist? Why would you do it to God's elect and think that the judgment is not going to be more severe? It is going to be more severe. The mere fact that you lied, and the mere fact that you didn't come across, the mere fact, I don't understand that. Even when I deal with other tatas, other mumbos, other hugans, you yourself know that when you attack another vessel that is in that upper echelon, that is in that hierarchy, that there is judgment that's going to befall you too. Just because you're a tata don't sanction you that you could touch another tata. Just because you're a mambo there's consequences. That's why they say, when one king sit down first and count the cards, do you go up against another king? Because there's going to be casualties of war. When you're trying to bring the death to another queen, another king, another god, another goddess, that's not going to be simple. If it is not even simple to bring death to an ordinary handmaid, a servant, or God's least ones, how much more is it going to be difficult for you to try to bring that level of judgment on a king or a queen or somebody that has been crowned or somebody's initiated scratch? That is not a simple task. And when you see people like me, because I have brought judgment on prophets, apostles, I have been given that kind of power. But at the end of the day, I still have to have a justified reason. I can't say because they don't agree with me. I can't just say because they don't like me. Because nobody, whether you're apostle or pastor, you can be atheist, you don't have to like me. That doesn't justify me doing a death curse on somebody because they don't like me. That's not true. You know what I'm saying? And that means that curse doesn't have it won't have the weight. It can be overturned. I don't care who you are. Do not think because you have excel spiritually that you still don't have to have a justified reason to do these workings, especially on people. Especially if you're going to bring to an end their timeline before time. Oh, exactly. And Demetrius said, and the aftermath of that said attack. Exactly. This is my thing. If you at a certain level, you should be at a certain level of maturity. If you have access to certain ngangas and certain veves and certain loas and certain kisi and bungos or whatever it is that you have access to, you should be it's like when President Putin throws out by nuclear war. The reason why he's never sent a nuclear missile, because he understands the devastation. Like, just because trust me, people understand. I don't care how many nukes you got, it don't take but one nuke to level this earth. It don't take 3, 4, 5. You understand? To decimate this earth. So whether you got 14, 15, 50, 60, 70, it only takes one. It only took one atomic bomb to do what America did to China. Just one. When you understand, that's right, Demetrius, that extraterrestrial, like, people are sowing seeds against me, and I'm an extraterrestrial cosmic chaos being. I want to know, how do you really think this is supposed to turn out for you? Whatever energy, whether it was an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, a hand for a hand, a foot for a foot. Like, I still want to know, how do you think, as a child of Ogun, as I am, I'm still a child of Ogun. Ogun is my father as well in Ocha. How do you think that's going to turn out? So what I teach universally, I try to teach people, stop thinking because you have a problem that you don't have to reap what you sow. And if you don't want certain things coming back on you, especially doing death spells, because a lot of y'all, especially in the church world, y'all like to speak death on people. I'm not coming from a place of judgment because I've done it. And I've succeeded in bringing it to pass. That's why I feel like I'm more capable of talking about this subject matter than most people. You just do not ask for that type of verdict. Like when they say when the prosecutor asks for the death penalty, when a Tata, a Mumbo, a Hugon, a root worker, a conjurer, a mystic, when they asking for the death penalty, they need to make sure that this person has violated on a certain level that is worthy of that death. That's some dangerous work. This is why it is also costly when you enlist a spiritual man or woman to do vengeance work or justice work. You call it. To me, this is my opinion. Justice and vengeance is like either side of the coin. If it's a quarter, vengeance would be the head, and justice would be the tail, or vice versa. If it's a nickel, same thing. I feel like they are just the energy on the opposite end. Justice, I would ask for justice when I want the person just to get because when you're asking for God to avenge you, that means you want God to be angry. Like the Bible say, arise in thine anger. When I'm wrought When I want God or my eguns to be, are we working with Ezeli? There's a certain type of Ezeli that you work with that when she's inflamed, when she's petrol, that's when you want them to go visit your enemies. You know, when I want God to be enraged, when I want my eguns to be upset, that's when I want them to avenge me on my adversary. That means I want some type of destruction. Justice could be they go to jail for what they do. But vengeance is a hot iron. And if I ask God to avenge me on my adversary, I'm looking for hot iron. So I'm just being honest with y'all. So death work is bringing somebody in the frequency, in the realm. This is why people bury people personal concerns in the cemetery. They're attaching that person's energy to death, and they're trying to bring their death about more expedient than it was meant to be, so to speak. Because everybody has a certain amount of time on earth, and so therefore cutting that time down is to bring that person to death. And that could be through weakening the body to the point of their sickness, a car accident, dying in a car accident. I've done spells where I've created I've done heart attacks. I've struck at the heart of certain people, and it takes them out of here. So there's a lot. You can strike at the brain or aneurysm. There's so many different ways. Certain organs we work on to shut those organs down. You know, some people die of natural causes of their organs shutting down, but there's other conjures and other works that we do in conjure to weaken the organs of the body of that individual. Even if you do hoodoo, Psalm 109 is it's a death spell. If you ever utilize that or utilize elements out of that, that is a death spell. I feel like Psalm 54 and 55 is more like vengeance. Psalm 109, you bringing death. You want you want people to be fatherless. You want people to be motherless, like all that kind of stuff. That's a death spell. If you're a Christian and you've ever prayed Psalm 109, you're doing a death spell. So just straight up, that's what that is. Not just wishing somebody to die, speaking against somebody's health. Those are all death words. Okay. Now, there are certain herbs that we utilize to bring that frequency, which I'm not gonna say that. And there are certain poisons, poisonous plants, poisonous animals. I've seen a lot. It's like dealing with spiders, tarantulas. I had one of my members buy me, what is the name of that fish? Piranha. I have piranha bones, but I have those bones in centella. Those are the things that we utilize. Anything that's a carnivore that eats flesh. Those are the animals. Anything that poisons the body, we use those things to implement in that working, along with our own ache to bring death. And then we may go to the place of death, which is a cemetery or somewhere. Like I have used where people have died at, like car accidents where somebody getting dirt or placing it somebody in that space where, you know, it was a car accident and somebody lost their life, because there's a vortex. Once the spirit leaves the body, there creates a vortex of energy. And so if you can read energy, you can actually put that person in that space of energy to bring that same type of death to that individual. Car accident, I mean, it's like I said, it's my line of work, but it's a lot of ways that you can bring death to an enemy. I still say in being responsible is it's a justified work in the sense of you have pleaded a case that warrants this type of level of severity. I think that if somebody takes a life, it puts you in that category. If somebody loses their life because of somebody else, that puts you in the category to implement this type of death spell. Hanging black people from trees, definitely death spell. Killing somebody, drowning somebody, all of that puts you in the realm that if somebody wants to go this route, that will put you in that category. Oh, y'all talking back for each other. So, I'm not against it. Clearly, I'm not against it. I think that everybody that I will be honest, I don't feel like everybody can do a death spell. I feel like people throw that around trying to create fear in people, but it takes a lot of power to live your life and bring somebody else's life to an end. And the fact that I am a child of the dead, I have those powers. I don't just have Ache, I have those powers, I have those Eguns. My Oya is Lady Death, Cynthia Lady Death, and then I'm going to receive in Kobiende, which is Lord Death. So my necromancy, I deal with death all the time. So I carry the Ache. So it's a lot easier for me to do a death spell, or somebody that works the cemetery, or somebody that works with Egun, to do a death spell than just a normal everyday person, because it's going to take, if the person is not taking care of themselves, it's easier to work those type of spells on. If a person is hereditary sick, it's easier to work those spells on. A person that's unprotected, it's easier. Not easy, I said easier. Because you have to give up a lot of Ache in order to bring somebody to end their cycle, to end their timeline before time. And I want to talk in that term so you'll understand why sometimes when you're working on somebody it takes so long. Because if that person was granted 70 years and you start working the death spell and they in their 30s, you got to cut off the rest of their life. That's going to take something. Because they were meant to live to 70 or 71. But because of your actions, you're cutting off those extra 30, wait a minute, 30, then they're 30, 70, 40, you're cutting off 40 years. Cutting off 40 years, that's a lot. So, this is why the Bible talks about sitting down, counting up the cost. You just, my spirit today always taught me, I can only kill so many people. Very honest. The Holy Spirit is only going to allow you to take through, especially through magic, to take the life of so many people. Before they come, they take yours. A lot of people won't tell you that. You just, even with the powers I have, I can't just free willy-nilly just out here get rid of people. I won't tell you how many, but I know. I haven't come near my quota. I'm 51. I got plenty of room to grow. If you want to know, you could fall in that slot. But there's so many other ways to deal with people and address people. But I think I wanted tonight to be about really understanding what a death spell is, understanding the severity of that spell, being able to protect yourself from a death spell. How would you protect yourself from a death spell? There are talismans out there that protect from sudden death. People have received the hand of Ifa to protect against death. I have a powder that protects against graveyard work. If somebody works the cemetery against you. I know the pros and cons. I know how to work the cemetery, and I know how to protect from the cemetery. If somebody buries you in the grave, they've created a grave for you. And if they have not sacrificed blood, see, the thing about when somebody works a death spell, it matters if they're what material they're using. If they're working blood, say for instance they use a goat. A goat is basically a human sacrifice. So they give up the life of this goat in order to take your life. So you have to, in exchange, give up a life in order to regain your life. You understand? So it's all about energy exchange. Trying to see what other things. I've seen people have taken me to the cemetery. You're taking the child of the dead to the dead to work on them with the dead. I just, like I said, without training, without understanding who they working on, I don't understand it. That's like somebody, if I pass away, somebody coming to my grave to work against me. Even if I have an issue with my children, I'm not going to work against my children. I got 3 sons. I don't care what my issue is with my kids. You can't come to my grave and ask me to kill my children. If I don't kill them while I'm living, because they done crossed me or something, I'm not going to do that. Up under no circumstances. And my spirit is going to do that. Child of the dead or not. I'm just giving you clarity. You can go to a relative to do a death spell on somebody when that relative did not regard that individual. Because some of y'all don't understand. Stormy said dunk the other day. There are relatives that will kill or go after other relatives. I've had to execute some of my relatives through death spells because of them speaking, prophesying against me, and I'm heavy-handed when it comes to magic and sorcery. So, bye, Felicia. So yes, you can work against. Like I tell people all the time, if you ain't my mama, my father, you get this smoke. And I didn't even have to have anything from them. It's that they had already spoken against me. I could easily turn that on them. So basically they die by their own hand. When people are sending those type of spirits, that's what my spiritual dad taught me, how to kill them with their own hand. They die by their own hand. Whatever work or whatever sorcery they're conjuring to bring your life to an end, you send that back with some extra stuff. But that's what I was raised to call it, dying by your own hand. Because it's really the work that they did and set up for you. You just return it back, but you put some other stuff to it. That's like drowning a fish. Shamari, that is an excellent example as well. That's like drowning a fish. It makes, but people do things because maybe they didn't think who I was. Maybe they just did not have proper guidance. Just like that's my home plate. You actually dealing with me in the strongest aspect of my magic, the cemetery. I'm strong in other areas, but I am definitely more powerful in the cemetery and when it comes to death than any other aspect of my life. And the reason why we want to talk about this Pisces for reversal. Wonderful choice on my day, on Tuesday. Mars energy. Would I teach somebody how to do a death spell? Yes, I would. If you have questions, you have to do super chat. If somebody is truly working a death spell, I want people to know it's not that simple to do a death spell. People act like doing death spell or just like any Joe Blow can do a death spell. A lot of people take credit for people's death. They ain't really had nothing to do with their death. That person was sick. That person was already going through, and that person was going to eventually expire anyway. To do a death, you would know if you have the power to bring death spells. You would have a history of doing said work. It is not that simple. Reading a spell out of a book, going to the cemetery, it's just because the process. That's why sometimes when people go out there and they put people in the cemetery, that's why it doesn't happen like they be expecting it, because they don't have a real connection with the spirit of death. They don't really have a real legitimate reason. Now, it brings death or brings that energy to that person. But if that person is doing cleansing and that person is doing certain levels of protection, they're going to be able to ward that off because they have their own egun. They have their own ancestors that are protected. Me and Mother Susan was having this conversation. Oh, even though that's reversed, it smells so good. Me and Mother Susan was talking about this, and this is what I tell people all the time. Because I have been blamed for a lot of people's issues. And let me explain what I mean by that. People that know they do wrong to me, they know if they had my powers, my gift, my talent, what they would be doing. They would be doing stuff to me. I don't have to do anything to anybody. I want to say this again. When you sow those seeds against me, you reap that. I don't have to do anything. My egun, like you, that energy you put out against me, why do I have to do anything to you when you just did it to yourself? You cursed yourself, you hexed yourself, you bind yourself. Whatever action you did, whatever lie you did, you the one got to reap that energy. A lot of y'all just think that, and I'm going to say this, I'm not trying to be offensive because I am a Sagittarius, my moon's in Aries and rising sign Pisces. But some of y'all think that I'm going to take all this money that I done spent to get these cauldrons. You really think that I'm going to take these cauldrons and work against you and work against your family? You don't think that's a bit arrogant? You're going to already reap what you sowed. Why would I take that good Ache, that good prana, and work against you when the truth of the matter is you're going to reap what you sow anyway? And half of y'all that be doing stuff against me, y'all life ain't all of that in the first place. You got more, you putting on air that you doing so well. Like I could be really condescending right about now. Because some of y'all that think I'm like, you literally think I'm finna come against you. Y'all already in poverty. Y'all already got health issues. I told one young lady, I said, and she was being really now. I said, your life's so fucked up. If I curse you right now, you would know the difference. There's no point in me cursing you because your life's so jacked up. The manifestation would look the same. Some people live a cursed life. They themselves, the actions that they make and the things they do and the decisions they make, you couldn't tell the difference between them, that, and a curse. That's how they live. It wasn't. I told something. There would be no point of cursing you. Look at your life. Your life, as my ex-wife would say, already look like a raggedy mango seed. Makes no sense. But the idea that because you done did me wrong, or you done undermined me, or you done lied on me, or done talked about me, you think I'm finna take all of this investment and then I'm gonna turn around and make you live what? You already got a life nobody wants. What else could I do to you? You already in a loveless relationship. You already beneath the poverty line. You just one check away from getting put out. Like what? Why would I take my Impungo, my Nkisi? I got bigger fish to fry. Please understand, I'm God's elect. That stuff that you're going to be going through is simply because whatever you sow, you're going to reap. But for me to just actually go out my way and say, oh, direct my Impungos or my Egos, that's a child, please. That's arrogant. If you think that I got all this way to get where I got to have to come against a bus driver, like, look at your life. I really want you to think about, why would I take my attention off of the prize, which is the high calling in Christ Jesus, to turn around and look at a catfish? I'm not going to do it. I'm not your problem. Your seeds that you sowed is your problem. You worried about me becoming more powerful and getting more egoons and whatever I'm doing. That ain't got nothing. You lying on me. Yes, I'm God's elect, but all that's gonna happen is people gonna lie on you. Just worse. You stealing from me, just people gonna steal from you. You crossing me, people gonna cross you. But if you think that my mind is that I'm doing all of this so I can turn around and come against you, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, a foot for a foot, a leg for a leg, a hand for a hand. But their spells, y'all, black people, when we do conjure, we got to really have a sober mind. Just because you would do certain things don't mean that I would do certain things. Top Flight, I got you with reversal. So many people just like really make themselves so important. You just gonna reap what you sow. That is just that simple. Those are laws of universal laws. But I don't. What you done did to me, I've been over. Let me tell y'all something. Good Ache, good Chi. You have questions, hit super chat. If you want a consultation, go to my website. I think that this was necessary. I think that people need to understand that there are people out there that can bring, just because you see somebody, can I say it like this? Just because you see somebody get a coffin or go to some, those are more mental scare tactics than it actually spiritual work. Because they got to know how to bring your soul into that coffin. They got to know how to attach your energy into that coffin and into the attachment of a spirit of the dead. I'm new. Super chat is right down at the bottom. It'll be a $sign if you got a question. That's all. Wait a minute. My mom passed last Monday. We're sorry that your mom passed. What can I do? If your mom passed last, I'll just do this because I'm a child of the dead. You want to light a white candle. Get a picture of hers, water, You need, if you can get some hyssop. A lot of the times when people pass, they still have sicknesses on them. They still have things that are going on with them. They need certain things to cleanse. So if you can get a white 7-day candle, novena candle, your mom's picture dedicated, if you got something of hers that you can place on that altar where it's that she still wore, so her energy is still in that, because you want that on that altar. Eventually you can get some ancestor incense, but right now when somebody passed that, they need a lot of light, the lifting of their soul. Candle light, it helps them see, because when they pass away, they lose their physical vision, and so they have to see through energy. And so when you light a candle, it's like the lights that when you're at the airport, the pilot can see those lights, and her spirit will be able to see that light. And with her picture, a picture will become a portal, so she will be able to receive the energy or that light from that candle. And you bless it in the name of Allah or her. That'll do. But when you put that there, put some hyssop to help her clean, water, and read Psalms 23. I still, even Mr. Mario has been passed over a year, I still have white candles on his altar. I still have white candles at his picture. Spirits need a lot of light, especially if they're going to be back and forth dealing with their loved ones. So that'll help her, but it'll also help cleanse her. The reason I say hyssop, because hyssop is a purifier, and she will be able to take that ache and clean herself. Every time she comes, she won't be bringing what she died of. She won't be bringing the weight of that. She'll be able to go to that and clean herself. Always work with your eguns with things that are familiar with them. And eventually, if you can go to my website, which will strengthen her, which will be the ancestor incense. Or I do ancestor burns for egun on my lives. And then, there's different things that if you want to concentrate, I could, there's a lot of stuff that you can do to strengthen her over a period of time. But in the next 20, she has a full year. When somebody passes, they have a full year. They'll be back and forth from the spirit world to the physical world. So keeping a candle lit and some type of offering out there for them. Can you spell him? Oh, that's Natasha put it in her hyssop. Thank you, Natasha. When you get an opportunity to go to my website, and for your mom, if she has a favorite perfume that she has, what I would do, because you biological mother, a daughter to her, go out to the cemetery and spray that perfume on her grave, and then bring that perfume back to the altar. You have to always make contact with the bones, because the bones carry the ache of that individual. So you make contact with the grave, but you ask for permission when you go out to that cemetery. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but you always give offerings to the egun that's out there, and then you proceed to your mother's grave, but you spray that perfume on her grave, and then bring that perfume back for an altar for her. So what'll happen eventually is when she comes around you, you'll smell that perfume. So that'll be your way of communicating and knowing that she's present. So when she actually comes into your vicinity, you'll start smelling that perfume. because she'll be wearing it. And that'll just be y'all little thing, so you'll know, okay, mama here, you know. Make sure I got everybody. I got you, Demetrius. Reversal. On Tuesday, ain't nobody playing. Ain't nobody playing. You have to give her fire. Light is really, it don't matter where her frequency is. Every spirit has to have light, or it's hard for them to maneuver. It really is. A lot of black people, we don't venerate our Agun enough. And to all of y'all that say, if you, especially if you already feeding them that ancestor instinct, y'all spirits are more advanced. Y'all ancestors are more advanced and being able to operate and function. Mr. Mario like way up there, but that's because of all the veneration and stuff. Like some of you guys bought the candles on the lit for Mr. Mario and stuff like that. That's Egum. He's up there. And he can, Minister Mario is actually in a place to answer prayers. That's how lifted he is. I told y'all I know what I'm doing. I've been doing this a long time. One thing I can do is I can deify somebody, because I'm a deity myself. I can bring somebody into godhood or goddesshood. This is why I offer my guardian angel incense to many of you guys, and it has a lot to do with elevating your chakra. This is why Padrino and them handle me totally different, and it has a lot to do with the magic that I already do. And a lot of you guys have access to that magic. All y'all got to do is do right by yourself and stay consistent. Other than that, you're gonna be fine. Like my Natashas and my Stormies and like a lot of y'all guys that support me, my Karen O'Briens and Mother. Like y'all gonna be, all y'all got to do is do right by yourself. You ain't really got to worry about the other stuff, because you have assets. You have assets. So it's only so much somebody gonna be able to do. And all you gotta do is be elevated. And so imagine when you get ready to depart, whether you get crowned or not, you still will be an elevated soul. You'll be able to function. Minister Mario was able to, even my Oba, when I was going through my crowning, and he was like, oh my God, Mario manifesting, because Mario was excelling so fast, but Mario had been using all those products all that time, and he was elevated. And so I was still doing things for him, even when he recently passed, that kept elevating him. And so he was able to show up at the table, the Misa table, that fresh. And normally people still trying to figure out they dead, they trying to figure. Mario had done transcended all of that. So you already know where he at right now. A year later, that's why he literally in a position to answer prayers. He could be one of the saints in Catholicism. Like when you go and you put out their pictures, like that's where Mario at. So sainthood, becoming of the saint. But I appreciate you. I needed to get back to mine. I used to do well. I have to. Yeah, I think that just understanding the purpose of why we do it. Like I think that black people take this as just like they do church. If you're going through something, you go to no. You always venerate your ancestors. You always say, and that's not the only before they pass, because we're eventually going to be ancestors ourselves. But you always take care of yourself and your energy. I have a lot of these my clients here that and which are my tribal ministers. They take care of themselves. They have the products. They stay up on those products and stuff like that. The biggest thing about our whole life is our energy. So at the end of the day, like you're gonna be in a different place. All this trying to wonder where you going when you die. Not if you take care of your energy. You ain't wondering. It's when you ain't take care of your energy. You don't know what spirit gonna attach you. You know, a lot of y'all getting y'all cleanser done now. A lot of y'all getting detachments removed. So when you pass, you're going to elevate on a whole nother realm. Whether you are in Ifa, Voodoo, or Santeria, you know, at the end of the day, you're still going to be an enlightened spirit. You won't be a lost soul. You won't be a wandering soul. You don't light candles just to manifest things of desire. You light candles to help build your energy, your ache. So I hope this helped. I should help. This is what I do. Once again, most death spells or death threats are bogus. It takes real power. It takes real skill to kill somebody, to bring death to somebody or somebody's. It also, it's not something that you go in unless you are fully committed to seeing that through. And always remember, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. I just have a problem with most people that they'll work on people, but they scream when other people work on them. Like, it is what it is. You're in a war. You're in a fight. So, I think that you know, I think being measured, but if you feel, I shouldn't say feel, but if you have the evidence that you warranted to go at that level with somebody, do what you do. Make sure you can bring it though. And don't be out here depending on books. You better make sure you have a connectivity with the dead to bring death. All right? As some people call it, EQ. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Thank you so much. The Touchdown say, great teaching, Chief. Thank you, baby. I be trying. I try to stimulate like you be stimulated. Yes, praise God. But I love y'all. Thank you so much. And I'll see you guys tomorrow in honor of my Fede from Ogun.